Things you didn't know 7 minutes ago. The Mayan civilization was incredible. They had made incredible advancements in medicine, math, and even language. Both the Aztecs and Mayans were two of the great pre-Columbian Central American civilizations. However, the Mayan civilization actually preceded and outlived the Aztecs. In fact, Mayans still live in the Yucatan Peninsula today. Sacrifices must be made. Mayans performed ritual human sacrifice for a number of reasons ranging from religious to medical ceremonies. It was considered an honor to be sacrificed, and the sacrificing was usually done by cutting just under the ribs and removing the still beating heart. It's hard to imagine how they could be comfortable with such butchery. But it actually helps to understand Mayan culture. As we mentioned, they believed that victims of sacrifice were granted immediate passage to paradise. Is it any wonder that they figured the ritual to be okay? In their eyes, a human sacrifice was simply the passing on of a person's soul into a better place. Maya fought the Spanish for 2 centuries. Mayan civilization went into decline much earlier than it first encountered the Spanish. Their first major contact happened in 1511 after the Spanish shipwrecked near Jamaica, on the coast of Yucatan. 10 survivors of the shipwreck were seized by Holochunik, the Maya lord, and they were held as slaves and sacrificed. Many expeditions followed this incident, marking a 2-century war between Mayans and the Spanish Empire. Even though Mayans didn't have horses, gunpowder, functional wheel, steel and iron, they fought Spanish furiously, and it wasn't until 1697 that the last Maya city, Yucatan, was conquered. In addition to the lack of technology, Mayans suffered from the Old World diseases which Spanish people brought to the continent. Inked. Mayans practiced tattooing, among other forms of body modification. Both Mayan men and women would get tattoos, but men would often wait until after they were married. After the formal ceremony, they would tattoo their arms, legs, backs and faces. Women would get smaller tattoos on their upper body, save their faces and breasts. Hot in here. Mayans were among the first cultures to use saunas. Saunas were used by Mayans for healing purposes, and were hated by the Spanish conquistadors who were against any form of sanitation at the time. Burning books. As we mentioned before, the conquistadors weren't responsible for the collapse of Mayan civilization. They did, however, help to erase much of their history. When the Spanish came to Mesoamerica, the Mayans had already abandoned their great cities in favor of rural societies. They retained, however, their traditional religious beliefs. This didn't sit well with Spanish thinkers like Bishop Diego de Landa, who set about converting the population to Christianity. When that proved difficult, he took a brutal approach. He burned and destroyed the Mayans had written, in an effort to erase their culture. And the conquistadors had the audacity to call the Mayans barbarians. These incredible people had created one of the most advanced scientific nations on Earth. And yet their collective cultural knowledge was burned and ravaged by a group of men in the desperate pursuit of material wealth. Truly heartbreaking. Big time. The Mayan city of Tikal was the largest of any Mayan city, spanning over 124 square kilometers. Tikal, like many other great Mayan cities, was abandoned during the Second Mayan collapse. Bookworms. Mayans were among the first to record history in books. The books they used were screen folds, similar to folded-up posters you might find in magazines today. The pages for these books were made with the inner bark of wild fig trees. The end of an empire. Experts in the Mayan history simply do not have enough solid information to state with clear-cut certainty how the Maya civilization ended. The downfall of the ancient Maya was likely caused by some combination of famine, drought, and change in the environment brought on by deforestation for farmland. This likely caused neighboring cities to turn on each other, causing civil strife. It wasn't a single event, though. It took over 200 years for the civilization to fail completely. And they were prolific writers, although many of them are now lost. Historians believe the Mayans may have written as many as 10,000 books. Gone but not forgotten. Of course, the Mayans were not completely wiped out. Many people of Mayan ancestry still live in South America, and some have migrated to other parts of the world. God of Death. Many present-day Mayans still live a traditional Mayan life, including ritualistic sacrifice. Since sacrificing humans is taboo now, the Mayans now sacrifice animals to their gods. Definitely not vegan.